Hey Ty, it's Mr. Meeker. Today we're going to be working on our reading comprehension, and we're going to be doing that in a one-on-one style so that we can make sure that you're understanding what we need you to be reading, what we're going to comprehend, and how we're going to get there. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our goal. Our goal today is to go through our reading and to make sure that you're able to ask some questions at the end of the text that show that you're understanding and you're comprehending what we are reading, and to make sure that you're following along and you're getting the ideas of the text. Okay, what we want to do is we want to make sure that your questions are showing that you have a deeper meaning of, or deeper understanding or better understanding of the reading after you finished than when you started. That's called comprehending what you're reading. So we want to make sure that we're comprehending what you're going to be reading. Okay. Um, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we use all of our senses when we are reading. I know sometimes it's very easy just to focus on our eyes as far as we read the text, but what we want to do is we want to be able to listen to the text being read as well. So I've recorded the paragraphs that we're going to read, and we're going to play that out loud so that you can listen, and then I will read along with the printed text, and then we can highlight some areas where we have some questions, and we're going to be using some colored sticks to identify different parts of the text that we're reading, and we're going to be doing some highlighting. So in addition to having the text printed for us, we're going to be able to hear it, and we're going to be able to use the sensory ideas of touching the text, moving some colored popsicle sticks around, doing some highlighting. So those are some areas that we'll be working on. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with an example. We're going to be using this method. It's called I do, we do, you do. So I'm going to start by showing you an example of how we're going to read our paragraphs in our text. And then we're going to do it together. And then I'm going to release you, and I'm going to give you all of the control over that document. And you're going to be able to do that last part by yourself. So that's called the I do, which is the teacher. Then we do it together, and then you're going to do it individually as the student. As we go through, I want you to ask questions. I don't want you to feel like you have to wait till the very end to ask questions. I want to encourage those questions. I want to tell you, hey, if you've got something that you're not sure about, well, you don't need to raise your hand because it's just the two of us, but let me know. Say, hey, Mr. Meeker, I don't understand that, or I'm a little confused. Can you tell me what that means? So that way, when you ask questions, you know that I'm going to help you with those, and then you can move along, and we can make sure that we're comprehending our whole essay or our whole reading. We're going to talk about open-ended questions also. I'm going to be asking you some questions that you don't get to answer with just yes or no. We're going to ask questions that you have to answer with why or how or describe a little better. So those are called open-ended questions, and we'll be using those as well. Okay, the first thing that we're going to use is we're going to use some popsicle sticks. I'm going to have some popsicle sticks that have different colors. And for example, one stick that I'm going to give you is going to represent the main characters in our reading. So when we get some information in our reading that deals with the main characters, like Confucius or maybe Confucius's family, we'll actually just put our popsicle stick right next to that section in the reading. So our popsicle stick will go right there. So that way we're going to train our eyes to know where in the reading they will go to so we can quickly reference back to that section. Okay. We're going to use a different colored popsicle stick to identify the important locations in our reading to make sure that we know that this reading about Confucius happened in a couple of different locations, and so that our brain uses those popsicle sticks and the colors to transfer between locations. And then finally, we're going to use popsicle sticks that have different colors for the main ideas or the key principles that Confucius taught. So that when I ask you a question about something that he taught, you can quickly move your popsicle stick to the area that applies, or you can use your eyes to focus on that particular color. Okay. Like we mentioned, I'm going to be playing a recording that I made ahead of time of me reading the text out loud. So basically, that's something that will have a little arrow next to it in your software. And if you just press the arrow, you can either listen to it like you're listening to me now, or you can listen to it on by using headphones. And finally, I'm going to upload it to my class website. So if you want to listen to it at home, you can do that. And by the end of the week, I'll have that available in a YouTube format so that you can quickly watch or listen to that through YouTube. Okay. So let's talk about the strategy we're going to use. I'm going to look at my notes to make sure that I'm giving you the right information, that we go the right way. Okay. We're going to highlight important parts of the text. We're going to be using two main highlighters. We're going to be using a blue highlighter and a pink highlighter. Okay. As we're going through our reading, we're going to highlight areas or pieces of information that we're comfortable with. Things that you look at and you're like, hey, I already know that. I'm comfortable with that. I could tell you, Mr. Meeker, anything you wanted to know about that. I could probably pass the information on to another student. We're going to highlight those pieces of information in blue. And then we're going to highlight information that is new to us. We're going to highlight that in pink so that we can quickly see what we are comfortable with and what we need to research a little more. Okay. What I did was I printed a copy of what we're reading. And just as a reminder, we're reading a text called Philosophers, Confucius. So there's a group of philosophers that we've studied, but this one's going to be especially about Confucius. And we talked about the highlighters. So here's your highlighters, the blue one and the pink one. Okay. I'm going to read the first paragraph out loud, and I want you to follow along with your copy. So you'll have a copy and I'll have a copy. You're going to follow along. Okay. I'm going to highlight the first few sentences on your copy as we read. I see that there's a colon, which is the two dots between the title Philosophers and Confucius. That tells me that Confucius is just one philosopher, that we're going to be talking about many. So he's just one of a group. So let's go ahead and highlight that in blue because we know that he is a philosopher and that we've talked about a group of philosophers. Okay, as I look down the page, I notice that there's four main categories or four main paragraphs in this text. Those are early life, philosophy and teachings, major works, and death. And this tells me that the author set up our information in four main sections, and they want our focus to be on these different sections. And we're going to focus on why each part of those sections was important to Confucius's life. When I get to an idea that is new to me, I'm going to highlight this new information in pink. So if you look at the second paragraph is the paragraph titled Philosophy. Now, there's some information in there that's unfamiliar to me that I wasn't totally aware of. I already highlighted that in pink. Now, I want you to look at what I highlighted, and I want you to see if there's anything that you could add that is new information to you. So that is the we section. We're going to do that together. So let's go ahead and mark that out now. Let's go ahead and highlight that in pink. Okay. I want you to notice that there's not very much known about Confucius's childhood. Some historians disagree about the details of his life, and all they know is that he was born during a time of crisis or a time of struggle in China. So I think that's something that we should talk about, maybe highlighting pink, because we're not sure what that struggle or what that crisis was. All right, so together we're going to read the paragraph titled Philosophy and Teaching. I'm going to continue reading out loud, and I expect you to keep highlighting the items that you either knew before or that you're confused by. Again, if you knew it before, it'll be in blue. If it's new to you or you're a little confused by it or you still have questions, that's going to be highlighted in pink. When we complete the paragraph, I'd like for you to share what you've highlighted as understood and what you've marked as areas that you'd like some more information on. The areas that you highlighted in pink, those will be the areas that we get some discussion questions going on. All right, and finally, you do. Okay, so I did the first paragraph, we did the second paragraph together. So I'm going to release you to work now on the last paragraph. Okay, I've given you the model and we've shown you how to do it together. So now you're going to read and you're going to mark the last or the remaining paragraphs of this text. When you've completed that, you're going to provide a summary, which is restating what you read. And that text, I'm sorry, restating what you read in the text. Your summary should be about 25 words. We're shooting for 25 words or less because if we have more than that, we're just restating or we're just using the author's same words and same ideas. We want to take just a few words and put what we learned into our own words. So let's make it a goal to have our summary be 25 words or less. And that's going to help you organize your colored sentences. So what you can do is you can use your blue colored sentences, the sentences that you understood well, as your summary. You can include items that you were familiar with, and then you can also say that you wanted to learn a little more as a result of this reading, and the things that you wanted to learn a little more as the result of this reading will be the items that you highlighted in pink. Okay, do you have any questions at this point? Okay, I'm going to sit next to you. If you have any questions, just ask, and then we will go through this together. But for now, I'm going to have you start on the last two paragraphs, and you're going to work on that independently, but I will be here if you have any questions.